Hopkinton, and welcome to the Hopkinton Hangout Hour. I'm Mike DeRosier, your host for today, Monday, May 17th, also known as Tax Day. It is today's tax day. That's why I got to talk real fast today with Sean, because I got to go and do my taxes. Sean, how we doing, buddy?
Good. It's been an eventful day. I think as we had discussed, a lot of stuff going on. So, you want me to start?
Hey, you know what? I was able to get a little TV in at lunchtime, and the Governor came on, and some good news.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's funny because there's the greater narrative that everybody's been discussing about the CDC. Do we wear masks? Do we not wear masks? We're getting to that point in Hopkinton where I'm actually okay with everything that the governor's about to do. I mean, for those who haven't heard and will definitely hear later tonight, Massachusetts will be, for all intents and purposes, opened up on May 29th. So there'll be a few exceptions where face coverings will be required, but all other restrictions are going to be lifted. And then come June 15th, the emergency declaration will be lifted. So,
Get all your bills in now before.
No, I mean, I'm sitting there I'm sitting on all this grant money that I got to figure out what I need. But so what does that mean for Hopkinton? I mean, it means that all of the businesses, and I've been in touch with a bunch of them today. They should start making plans to open up, figure out what their return to a normal operation is going to look like, because as we were discussing, they have the right to require face coverings and to set up protocols that are a little more that are more stringent if they aren't fully comfortable with opening up. And that's one of the things that the governor and the secretary were stating today. We're allowed to open up, but we need to be we need to respect businesses' decisions as we are going through this process.
Right, absolutely, because they did mention that we're not going to have any kind of unvaccinated ID card, proof of ID, this but there are still people that found a new way, and we'll go into the service industries. They found a new way to serve the public during this pandemic. And like you and me, we got some ideas of, having to be creative in this time. And we got the ideas, and there's some things that we're going to stick with. And mask could be one of them. You may see this service with the mask all the time. You may see service with gloves all the time. They may ask you, hey, we may limit the tables to 6 still, stuff like that, that they had to adapt to. So you got to respect it. Let's put it this way. I've never seen so many signs in one place at any time. It's just incredible. And, some people, I still forget my mask. I mean, come on, it's been a year,
Yeah.
I can potty train the dog faster, but but these people still want to have their mask, and they're going to expect you to do it. So you're not going to get rid of those masks yet.
No. And it's funny because I've been, when someone asks me, what the last year has been like, it's this interesting story. And then when I get around to this time, I'm like, and people I'm finding people are just at their wits, they're at their end, and they're fighting me on everything. And I have one who has been writing me weekly about face coverings, and I'm like, but you can't argue with the data. If you look at just the municipal offices, we've had the lowest rate of absenteeism ever. when I look at the school data or the town data, we've had the lowest rate of, aside from COVID, respiratory illnesses. So flu, the common cold, um, things like norovirus, all of the things that you would get, especially in the school setting. We haven't seen that this year.
Right.
So, I mean, I personally think that there is a place for face coverings in the schools, and they will still be required in the schools.
Sure.
But these are the things to consider. Maybe during cold and flu season, people might want to wear a face covering. Right now, the funny thing today was one of my daughters took their face coverings off, and they were exposed to pine pollen. They started sneezing,
Right.
and I said, "Well, until the allergy medicine takes effect, maybe you want to put the face covering on." And then they stopped sneezing. So, we learned a lot this year. So, I mean, I think like many others, I'm not a fan of wearing a face covering, but I didn't have any of the sinus infections I normally get. I get my flu shot, so I didn't have any flu. And aside from being incredibly exhausted and in need of a long vacation, I'd say my family made out pretty well. So
I tell you, you know what? The work that everyone in this town put together with the leadership, Chief Slavin, yourself, Casey, it's incredible how fortunate we are in this town to have the service we got. I mean, you brought the seniors to their senior center for shots, which is huge because there's nothing more intimidating. Like, and I'm going to use a place like Gillette, big place. Can you see a senior just showing up there and not knowing where to go or anything because they may never go to a game, and yet in their panic because they don't see a single soul they recognize.
Yeah.
But here they felt well, and I talked to them. Well, you saw me there. I was there for the clinics, and they were just so pleased that they knew it was their firefighters, their police, their health department, their social workers from the senior center, all the people that they knew were there to help them. And the biggest wait you had there was your 15 minute wait after the shot. Everything else, you drop off at the door. Chief Slavin opens up the door, welcomes you in, temperature check, boom, check in, boom, shot, boom, sit down and wait.
And with the clinic we're operating right now in Westboro, we set it up the same way. This time you just got 7 different chiefs and staff. But everybody's contributing. We have a really pleasant experience where I'd say 99% of the people are getting in and out within 20 minutes. They have the mandatory 15-minute wait, and then they're like, "Wait, we're gonna get out of here in 20?" I'm like, if we have more than 2 people in line, we're jumping and doing something.
Right.
And we've been going over our data, and our vaccination data shows that what we did, and then when Kristen from Northborough, she's the director there, the interim director at Southborough, and the COVID coordinator in Ashland, we got together, and Kristen got an email or a text from someone at the States offering us vaccine. And then we were like, if we get Pfizer, they're making the offer. Yep. So they have vaccine to give. So let's see if they'll buy into us putting stipulations on it. And that's how we got the Pfizer vaccine. So we can start vaccinating the kids. And then we said, and if we get that when they open up for 12 to 15, we're going to be better off. So let's just push. And it worked. And right now, 20% of our 0 to 19-year-old kids have had their first dose. Mm-hmm. And then we're 74% of our 20 to 29-year-olds have received their first dose.
Yep.
And then every other age group is over 91%. And that's, you're looking at the same statistics in Westboro, Southboro, Northboro. And then, and actually Holliston, Ashland, and Boylston are right behind us. So just operating this clinic has done an amazing, it's got an amazing number of our residents vaccinated. And that's why I actually, when I look at our data, I'm like, I feel pretty good. And there are people out there bugging me about the damn basketball hoops. And I think we're going to have really good news coming forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's funny when on Sunday morning, I don't hear the squeaking of the sneakers from my window. I guess I kind of miss it, but do you feel that the final percentage is mostly the citizens under 12? And if so, what do you think the percentage of people, I'm not even going to say in Hopkinton, but in general, in the area or in the state, that are just, hey, I'm not getting that vaccine?
In Hopkinton, I think we'll be less than 5%. Honestly, great. I mean, we're like, I was shocked when I saw these numbers. I mean, I knew we were doing well. And one of the interesting things that happened was that we saw that as the kids were coming through, they were bringing a reluctant parent with them. And, on our first day of the offering the high school clinic, we must have got 30 parents that hadn't been vaccinated done. And now what we're starting to do is we've realized that those, residents that were really looking forward to getting vaccinated have got vaccinated. And now it's trying to set times up in the evening and on the weekends where we can get people that, might not have that freedom during the week. To get in.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to figure out what else we can do to get, vaccine into businesses and just into places where, people are having a hard time getting to the clinic. But I think we're going to land, across the board over 95%, which is going to be great for the town. And what I suspect is around August, September, they'll give Pfizer will get their FDA approval, and we'll be able to start vaccinating the 12 and unders, and that'll make a huge difference.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. So with the vaccines and the no mask, it was great to hear all your respiratory, all your noroviruses, all that's gone down and way down. And it's not, and I'm not going to say it's because people forgot about it. It's just everyone's doing a healthier living. Can you imagine if everyone washed their hands all the time? How much in general that would do? All right. So now you did say that the schools are still going to require the mask.
Yeah.
Until the end of the year, anyways, and maybe keep it for some other portions that they have. Maybe bring the little auditorium meetings back and maybe wear them there. But do you feel that the high school sporting programs have really come a long way compared to what originally was thought?
I think I think moving forward, we're going to be in a much better position for sports. I think the unfortunate thing was that it was March 11th, we had just a series of sports related outbreaks, and then that fueled a couple really bad outbreaks the second to third week of April, and that just wrecked our athletics. There were, I think, there were two illnesses, two individuals that were responsible for putting, I don't know, it was like 8 sports out, just because they just for one reason or another. But I don't think we're gonna have. I'd like to think we're not gonna have any of that moving forward, and that I feel bad for the seniors,
Sure.
but that was one of there were a group of us that were just getting beaten up. You guys hate sports, and I'm like, no, I played. like my contractor who's working on my house, he and I we've been friends since we've been, I think, like 10, and he's like, it's crazy, like these emails are beating you up, but I played every sport,
Right.
and
Right.
even tennis. And it's, but I think at the end of the day, I think we're in a much better place.
Sure.
I think we're in a much better place for summer leagues. We'll be able to open up the basketball courts,
Outdoor concerts are coming.
yeah. And you look at like Framingham. I mean, Framingham, Alex, the acting director, she and her group have done a fantastic job at turning the city around. I mean, their positivity rate is a full point below us. But it's come through. They've been working every weekend, with getting these mobile clinics out, and because of like efforts that are ongoing in Framingham and Milford, I think we're going to be in a good place, because all of us are seeing good vaccination turnouts. Just people are doing their job throughout this region, and I'd argue that they're doing their job throughout the Commonwealth, and that's why we're going to be a lot better off.
Oh, great. All right, so now here we are, final phases. Things are getting back to normal, and your life will get a little bit better. I think a little bit. I'm not going to say better. I'll say you a little bit bad life, but you may actually work only 40 hours from here on out, right?
Yeah,
Would that be nice?
40 to 50. It's we're getting there, and it's I'm transition like the college kids that I have had working for me who are absolutely amazing.
Yep.
I'm transitioning them and into gathering data, and they're going to be helping the chief and I put together an after action report. The Amelia, who's been helping us with contract tracing, is going to transition into providing some other nursing services. I got Kalechi on board, who is picking up the slack and getting just the food service work, caught up. And then he and I can start focusing on ticks and other things, and
normally we'd be talking about ticks right now. We wouldn't be talking.
Right. Ticks and Triple E. And then many people have, heard about Casey's resignation, but she needed a break, and she's got a lot going on at home, and I couldn't have done this without her.
Right. I mean, her statement alone,
yeah,
that she put out describing, I took this job because I wanted to, slow down my work from the busy hospital life. Now, if a town nurse is not supposed to be like an emergency room nurse or a floor nurse, charge, whatever, it should be a lot easier. And yet she's comparing it to a frontline nurse in a hospital, which is crazy, because we know what those nurses do.
Yeah.
And, first off, going above and beyond is in the nurse's blood. Anyways, they always do that. They continually do. But the long hours that they put in. When you're town nurse, you're thinking 9 to 5. You're thinking the simple stuff. And so, yeah, she gets the job. Welcome to town. Haven't had a great nurse in a long time since the great Julie Harris. And all of a sudden, bam, COVID.
Yeah. There was this guy at this training that we were at in, I think the beginning of January, who said, well, why do we need this pandemic training anyways? And Casey and I looked at each other and I said, when I was in the supermarket world, that would meant you got to beat down because you just jinxed us. And then we got to prepare because we're going to, something's going to happen. And sure enough, COVID came. And, but I would argue that, Casey was, she was prepared to, handle the workflow. She was, she was used to making, you know, educated decisions quickly, and the two, I'd argue the two of us, I was coming from the same kind of world, and it just worked. And I don't know if it would have worked as well with anybody else. And as I said, I'm kind of used to getting my own way. So I'm trying to keep the band together as best as I can. We might only be playing weekends, but no, I think it won't be the last that you see of her.
Hey, Bob got a question in it. Is there any numbers of the people vaccinated who work in town but do not live here? Is there? They work in town.
Not yet, but I can tell you that I've spoken to all of the major employers, because we're encouraging all of them to send their employees to the clinic in Westboro.
Yes.
And we're trying to figure out how to bring the clinic to them if there's a need. But in those conversations, it was, ones and twos, in the departments. But because we could, offer them, say an hour experience where they left work, took 10, 15 minutes to get to the clinic, 20 minutes at the clinic, and 20 minutes back, that they could, for 2 hours invested, they could get a fully vaccinated employee back. They were all, they all took the links. They were sharing the links. Like Dell published the link throughout their HR department. So even if you were flying in and you were going to be in town for a bit, you could, try to make plans. So, I mean, we've done a lot of outreach work, and we're continuing to pursue businesses to try to encourage anybody that lives out of town that's coming into work to, come into the Westboro Clinic, or to give us a call at the department to take care of their vaccination.
Oh, that's great. So, all right. So we get basketball hoops coming back. We get masks coming off our faces. And what do you feel that is going to be the longest thing to, to still continue, even though, the emergency order is being lifted June 15th? What do you feel that is going to be the longest drag out of COVID that, still showing up on the news? What do you feel is going to be the problem?
We think that there'll be a need for booster shots down the road. We're just not sure of, how often, but we think that there's going to be a place for us, just like we run flu clinics, to be running flu and COVID booster clinics. We've seen some breakthrough. We're working with the state So every case of breakthrough that's been reported to us, I forwarded to the state, and then we've coordinated research testing with those individuals where we could secure a sample. But even in the breakthrough cases, it's all they were all except for one was asymptomatic. They were doing great. So the vaccine's working to keep people from getting sick. And in those few instances where people actually caught COVID, I think the only symptom that I'm really aware of is someone lost their sense of smell again. And so that's all positive. It's really just figuring out what the maintenance is. And then this research that's been going on is leading to, there's a group that works with the federal government that's working on a universal coronavirus vaccine. So it would help address the common cold, COVID, SARS, MERS, and a couple others. So, I think this whole year has done a lot for the research, and that we're going to be in a better position down the road to be able to fight flu and other illnesses. So as hard as it's been, I think we're going to benefit from, what we learned this year. And then, I'd argue that as hard as it's been, I'm hopeful that all of our businesses are going to see a significant surge, over the next few months, and that they can strengthen. I think everybody learned how to really kind of to adapt and to think outside the box, and they've been successful. And one of my best days was when Opio had the flower pop up. I used to hold my office hours when I worked for the city of Boston at one of the flower locations. So it was good seeing, some of my old buddies from Flower, and but people started really thinking on their toes and figuring out, that maybe I could operate my business a little better this way. And I think everybody's going to come out a bit stronger. And I'm
a little bit heavier.
Yeah. That's one thing.
All right. I got one last question for you, since we only have about 30-40 seconds left. We get the town election on Saturday. Mask or no mask? What's going on?
No, masks while you're outside. If there's a group, if you're coming into a group, you got to throw a mask on.
Yep.
And then you got to have a mask on in the building, because I'm not going to have my regulation rescinded by then. And the governor kept on saying to be safe.
Yep.
May 29th.
There you go.
Tolerated till May 29th.
29th. You heard it there, folks. Yep. First from Sean. Sean, we'll probably get you in one more time before this is over and before you go.
We could do it in person.
Yeah, we'll do more in person. But Sean, thank you for coming on today. And everyone at home, thank you for watching. Tune in on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, when we'll be back for another Hopkinton Hangout Hour. Take care.
All right. Thank you.